Hello everybody, welcome to this next video on linear algebra. In the last videos we were looking at what is a linear transformation and some examples of linear transformations. We have looked at some really interesting examples of linear transformations. Now we will look at some properties of linear transformation or linear maps, and then we'll move ahead with defining different types of linear transformations. So let us in this video see some of the examples of linear transformation. So some of the properties of linear transformations. So first property is that if you have T is a linear map from U to V is a linear transformation, then T of 0 is 0 always, and T of minus U is minus T of U, and T of alpha 1 U1 plus alpha 2 U2 plus so on alpha n UN is equal to alpha 1 T of U1 plus alpha 2 T of U2 plus so on alpha n T of UN. So these are the three properties which we will prove, right? So it's quite simple to prove. Let us look at the first property. So T of 0 is 0. How you can do this? You can just write it as 0 into U, where U is any vector in U, and then you can write it as 0 into TU, which is 0, right? So you get T of 0 is 0. Now if you look at the second property here, so you have T of minus U, that is actually T minus 1, which is a scalar U. This is minus 1 into T of U. This is from the property of the linear transformation that T of alpha U is alpha TU, right? So you get T of minus U is minus TU. Now the third property which we have to prove, so let us look at this property. So you have T of alpha 1 U1 plus alpha 2 U2. This is what you want to prove. Alpha n UN is equal to alpha 1 T of U1 plus alpha 2 T of U2 plus so on alpha n T of UN. We want to prove this thing. So for that we will use induction. For n is equal to 2, we will use principle of mathematical induction. This is a beautiful principle which always helps you to prove so many things. Principle of mathematical induction. So for n is equal to 2, so you should have T of alpha 1 U1 plus alpha 2 U2 is equal to alpha 1 T of U1 plus alpha 2 T of U2. This is true because T is linear transformation, or you can take for n equal to 1 also, it's your choice. True as T is linear transformation, and this is the definition of linear transformation. Now let the result is true for n is equal to k. So it means that you are saying T of alpha 1 U1 plus alpha 2 U2 plus so on alpha k UK is equal to alpha 1 T of U1 plus alpha 2 T of U2 plus so on alpha k T of UK. So this is what you are saying. So now to prove the result for n is equal to k plus 1, right? So you have to prove the result for n is equal to k plus 1. For that you will start with alpha 1 U1 alpha 2 U2 plus so on alpha k UK plus alpha k plus 1 UK plus 1. What you will do, you will consider this first quantity, you treat it as one vector, treat it as one vector, say V. Then this is equal to T of V plus alpha k plus 1 UK plus 1. So this is by definition of linear transformation is T of V plus alpha k plus 1 T of UK plus 1. This happens because of T is linear. Now you see what is T of V. You put the value of V here, so you'll get T of alpha 1 U1 plus so on alpha k UK plus this term as such. Now you see what is this? This already from this star. From star, this is alpha 1 TU1, alpha 2 TU2, alpha k TUK. So this is equal to from star. This is alpha 1 T of U1 plus alpha 2 T of U2 plus so on alpha k T of UK plus alpha k plus 1 T of UK plus 1. So this is equal to T of alpha 1 u1 plus so on alpha k plus 1 uk plus 1. So this is how we prove the result for n is equal to k plus 1. Therefore, from the principle of mathematical induction, from the principle of mathematical induction, we can say that T of alpha 1 u1 plus so on alpha n un is equal to alpha 1 T of u1 plus alpha 2 T of u2 plus so on alpha n T of un. Now you see, you have proved the result here. This is the result which we just proved. Now let us see how this result is useful to us. Can you guess that how we can use this result? You see here, you are saying that this property holds, and suppose you have a linear transformation from u to v, and there is a basis for u, say u1 u2 un, right? Then it means that every u belongs to u can be written as alpha 1 u1 plus alpha 2 u2 plus so on alpha n un, right? So it means that every linear transformation, this linear transformation T, when you apply it on u, you'll get actually T of alpha 1 u1 plus alpha 2 u2 plus so on alpha n un. Now use this result here. Use the result. So this will be equal to alpha 1 T of u1 plus alpha 2 T of u2 plus so on alpha n T of un. Now you see what is happening, that if you know the value of your linear transformation on u1, u2 and un, then you know the value of linear transformation for every u. So conclusion is, if u1, u2, un is a basis of u and T from u to v is a linear transformation, and you know T of u1, T of u2 and T of un, then you for sure know alpha 1 T of u1 plus alpha 2 T of u2 plus alpha n T of un, where u is equal to alpha 1 u1 plus alpha 2 u2 plus so on alpha n un, and this quantity is equal to Tu, right? It means that knowing the Laplace the linear transformation only on the elements of the basis will let you know the transformation completely. It means that knowing the linear transformation, a linear transformation only on the basis elements let you know the linear transformation completely, that linear transformation completely, right? For example, if I give you, say you have, I am saying that you have a linear transformation from R2 to R3 where I have a basis 1 0 0 1, where I am telling you that T of 1 0 is say 2 3 5 and T of 0 1 is 0 0 1, and I am asking you what is T, right? So you see, you know T on the basis elements, so it means that you know T completely. So how can I write that? I can write that if u is any vector in R2, I can write that vector, let that is equal to x comma y. I can write that as x into 1 comma 0 plus y into 0 comma 1, right? Now T of x into 1 comma 0 plus y into 0 comma 1, these are scalars, so I can write it as T of 1 comma 0 plus y T of 0 comma 1. Now T of 1 comma 0 is given to us as 2 comma 3 comma 5, and t of 0 comma 1 here is given as 0 comma 0 comma 1. So you get your transformation as 2x comma 3x comma 5x plus 5. So this is the transformation we get. So it means that knowing the linear transformation only at the basis elements will let you know the linear transformation completely. In fact, we have the theorem. Indeed, obviously this theorem is the same thing which I spoke to you right now. So this is indeed we have the following theorem. So you see, what I am doing in this course is, obviously I am telling you everything, all the intuitions, that you see what we are getting, that if you know the transformation on the basis elements, it means that you know the transformation completely. But at the same time, I also want that you have all the flavors, that every theorem you should know that okay, this is the theorem, and then we have a proof also for that theorem. I'm not saying that I am a pro theorem person. I'm saying that those theorems, when you prove theorems, that give you more things, more analytical thinking about that particular subject. The only thing is you have to develop a sense for proving the theorem. You don't have to cram the proofs at all. You have to you have to try to understand that what exactly is happening. For example, whatever I have spoke to you like in this last few minutes, that thing I am writing in the form of a theorem. And when you study from a book, you look at the theorems and you see that okay, this is boring, I don't like this. But that is not the thing. You have to change your way of reading the things, or a way of looking at the mathematics of anything, right? For example, most of the students these days, they look mathematics as a sequence of just theorems or some formulas which they have to cram before going to exam. But that is not the thing, right? So you have to look at the beauty of the theorems. So I am writing a theorem which is just the conclusion of what we have just done. So theorem is a linear transformation T is completely determined, T is completely known or determined by its values on the elements of a basis. Precisely if B is equal to U1, U2, Un is a basis for U, and V1, V2, Vn are n elements, n vectors, and they don't have to be distinct, not necessarily distinct. In V, then there exists a unique linear transformation T from U to V with T of Ui is equal to Vi. So you see, this theorem is same as what we have said above, but there is something more. Here you are saying that suppose there is a vector space U and there is a basis U1, U2, Un for that vector space. And then there is a vector space V. There are elements V1, V2, Vn. They are not necessarily distinct. Then if what you do, let me draw a picture. So you have U here, you have V here. Okay, I also want to say you that most of the times I draw the pictures, right? So there is a reason for drawing these pictures. Generally you don't see these pictures in books, right? So this is because this is a human tendency that we remember most, which are when we see the things. If we just read the things, there are lesser chances that you will remember, but if you see the things, there are high chances that you will remember those things. So it is always better to draw the things. That is why I am a big fan of drawing the pictures of what is happening. So you see here what is happening. You have a vector space U here, and here you have a vector space V, right? Here you have elements U1, U2, U3, Un. These are the elements of basis, right? It means that they are linearly independent and they span whole space U. Okay, and here are these vectors. They are arbitrary vectors. They can be same or different, arbitrary vectors in V. So I am saying that if you map u1 to v1, u2 to v2, u3 to v3 and un to vn, right? So you have T of ui is equal to vi, and that there is a unique transformation which does so, right? Linear transformation. So we can prove it very easily. So you want to prove that such a transformation is unique and it is a linear transformation, right? So let u belongs to u be any elements, then I know that u can be written as alpha 1 u1 plus so on alpha n un. Why? Because u1 u2 un is a basis. Fine. Okay, so it means that now you define, we have this t, we have t of ui is equal to vi, t of ui is equal to vi. This is what we have already, right? This is what we want to prove, that this will happen, and we will define a transformation which will obey this. So let us start again. What you are doing, that you have a vector u in capital U, then because u1 u2 un is a basis, so you can write u as this. Now define a transformation t of u as alpha 1 v1 plus alpha 2 v2 plus so on. So this is how you are defining. What you are doing, you are taking t of u, it means that you know alpha 1 alpha 2 alpha n, then t of u you are defining as alpha 1 u1 v1 alpha 2 v2 alpha n vn, and v1 v2 vn are given to you. Now we will prove that t is linear. Then we will prove that t is such that t of ui is vi. Then we will prove that t is unique, right? So let us do this. So first, to prove that t is linear, what we will do, you will just take t alpha u plus beta u1 and u2 you take, right? So now this is t alpha u1 will be linear combination of u1 u2 un. So let us write that combination as alpha 1 1 u1 plus alpha 1 2 u2 plus so on alpha 1 n un, plus this beta u2 is also linear combination of u1 u2 un. Write that as alpha 2 1 u1 plus alpha 2 2 u2 plus so on alpha 2 n un. Now you can write it as, this is t of alpha 1 1 plus beta alpha 2 1 into u1. I am just combining this and this, then u2 and u2 term. So you will get alpha 1 2 plus beta alpha 2 2 u2, and so on alpha 1 n plus beta alpha 2 n un. Now by definition of t, this is equal to alpha 1 1 beta alpha 2 1 into v1. This is how we have defined, that wherever just take this coefficient and instead of u1 you write v1, plus alpha 1 2 plus beta alpha 2 2 into v2, and so on alpha 1 n plus beta alpha 2 n into vn. Now you can write it as, just take the first terms and take the alpha common, alpha 1 1 v1 plus alpha 1 2 v2 plus so on alpha 1 n vn. Then from the second terms take beta common, alpha 2 1 v1 plus alpha 2 2 v2 plus so on alpha 2 n vn. So this is t of alpha u plus beta v. Now what is this? This is t of u, and what is this? This is t of v. So this is equal to alpha t of u plus beta t of v. So it means that t is linear. T is linear. Fine. Now you want to prove that t takes ui to vi. Now if you write ui, that will be t of 0 u1 plus 0 u2 plus so on 1 into ui plus 0 ui plus 1 plus so on 0 un. So that is by definition 0 v1 plus 0 v2 plus so on 1 vi plus 0 vi plus 1 and so on 0 vn. So this is vi. So you get t of ui is vi. Right? Now you want to prove that t is unique. So let there be any other linear transformation, say S, such that Ts of ui is vi. Then we want to prove that t is equal to S. So S of u will be, because S is linear and u is an element of u, and alpha 1 it can be written as alpha 1 u1, alpha 2 u2 plus so on alpha n un. Now this will be equal to alpha 1 S of u1 plus alpha 2 S of u2 plus so on alpha n S of un, because S is linear. Now this is v1, this is v2, this is vn. So this is equal to alpha 1 v1 plus alpha 2 v2 plus so on alpha n vn, which is equal to t of u by definition of t. So you get S is equal to t. This happens for all u belongs to u. So S is equal to t. So it means that such a transformation exists and is unique, right? Okay, so in this video we have looked at some properties of the linear transformation, and we have also seen that a linear transformation is completely known if we know it on any basis of the domain space U. In the next video we'll do some problems based on this particular property of the linear transformation.